Yeah. So first I will see uh, array is a fixed size sequential collection of elements of same data type. This is the basic definition of an array means. Okay. So in a very simple note, what is an array? Array is a collection of elements of same data type, or array is a collection of homogeneous data. So we have different data types: integer, float, character, right? So we have these different types of data is there. So array is something which is a collection of same data type or one data type. It may be a collection of integers, it may be collection of characters, it may be the collection of float values. And when we have this collection of elements of same data type, all these elements are stored in the memory in a sequential order. Sequential order means one by one, one by one. First element, second element, third element, fourth. All these elements are stored in your memory in continuous memory locations. That is what sequential collection means. In the memory, they will be stored in sequential order, in a continuous order. And one more important thing is uh, it is fixed size. In the beginning, when I say it is same data type, it is a collection of elements of same data type. So that collection may be 100, maybe 200, maybe 500, whatever the number may be, but the size is fixed. Once if I had taken the size of 100, throughout that program, till the completion of that program, the size of that collection, it cannot be altered. The size is fixed size. Suppose if I decided to use integers of 100 integers, so these 100 integers will be stored in the continuous memory locations, where the size of this 100, it cannot be modified, it cannot be changed. And all the 100 elements which I have considered, they belong to one category. That is what one data type or same data type. Whatever that category may be, whatever the data type you take, according to your choice, you can take. But all the 100 elements which I have considered, they belong to one data type. That's it. Okay. So that is what the basic definition of the array. It is a fixed size sequential collection of elements of same data type. Okay. An array can be used to represent a list of numbers or a list of names. Suppose example, uh, I want to store the marks of students. So where that the class consists of 100 students, 50 students in a class. So for all the 50 students, I want to consider the marks of let us say C programming. So marks they secured in C programming. So here let us say the marks are of I'll represent marks with integer data. Yes, I'll represent my marks with integer data. So here all the marks of 50 students are of integer data type. So that is what the list of numbers or list of marks or collection of marks. Suppose if I want to store the names of all the students who belong to one particular section, one particular class. So in one section, let us say I have 60 students. So the names of all the 60 students will come under one data type, one category. So if you want to represent such kind of data, I'll go with arrays. Okay, so we have different types of arrays, like one dimensional arrays, two dimensional arrays, and beyond that I call them as multi-dimensional arrays. Okay, suppose let us say how I'll represent these arrays is it looks like this. Suppose let us say I want to represent marks. I'm representing it with marks m. Suppose in one program, if I want to represent marks of three subjects, I can write like this, right? I can write like m1, m2, m3. So this is fine. If it is five subject marks, I can say m4, m5. Suppose if I want to represent marks of 60 students, how many variables are required here? How many variables we require to represent marks of 60 students? How many variables we require? One variable can hold one value.
60.
So you require 60 variables for storing 60 marks, right?
Sir. Yes, sir.
So instead of using that many number of variables, like 60 or 100 or 200 variables, so I have to go with m1, m2, m3 like that, right? Instead of writing variables names like that, so what you can do is you can make, if all the 60 belongs to one data type, you can make them as an array. You can make it as a array. So what you can do with that array is, see, I'll name all the 60 variables with one name. So the whole group I'll give one name, which I call it as marks. Fine. For all the 60 values or 60 variables, I'll give one name. Like let us you compare like this. If you have 60 students in one class, 60 students are there in one class. So that whole collection, I'll call it as let us say section A, right? I'll call them as all the group of all the 60 students as section A. And suppose if I want to call one student individually, so in section A, every student will be assigned one roll number, right? 60 students is collection of one class, that I call it as section 1 or section A. In section 1, again the 60 students were individually, they'll be given their roll numbers, right? Roll number 1, 2, 3, like that you will give numbers. Here also, all the 60 variables I will call them as marks. And to identify the all the 60 variables individually, I'll also give indexes to those variables. I'll give indexes. So that is, this is the whole collection here. Here we have 60, sorry, six values I have. Okay, let us consider six variables. So all the 60 variables, I'll call them as marks. What about the marks of first one? I have given one separate index. I'll call that index as 0, index 1, index 2, 3, 4, 5. That means marks of the first student, I'm giving the index as 0. Marks of the next student, I'm assigning the index as 1. For the next student, I'm assigning 2, 3, 4, 5, like this. So these numbers 0 to 5, they are called as indexes. Okay. So to represent the indexes individually, you can write like this. Marks of 0. So that index have to be represented in the square brackets. The indexes are represented in the square brackets. Marks means all the whole collection is called as marks. But marks of 0 means only the first element in that collection. Section 1 means it is a collection of 60 students. 60 students are combinedly called as section 1. Roll number 1 is one person in that section 1. Roll number 2 is one person in section 1. Right? This, in that way, here these variables are also, that whole collection, I'm calling it as marks. Okay. The marks of the first student, I'm calling it as marks of 0. Marks of the next student as marks of 1, marks of 2, marks of 3, 4, 5, like that. So that means individually, I am calling them as indexes. Got it? So like this way, we have different types of arrays, like one-dimensional arrays, two-dimensional arrays, multi-dimensional arrays. So this I call it as index. Here I'm writing one number, right? 0, 1, 2, 3. So that I'll call them as index. If I write one index after that name, that is called as one dimension array. If I write only one number, that means if I write only one index, that is called as one dimension array. If I write two indexes, I'll call it as a two dimensional array. If I write more than two indexes, I'll call it as multi-dimensional arrays. More than two, it may be 3, 4, or whatever it is. We can call it as multi-dimensional array. So you understood up to this?
Yes, sir.
So it looks like this. A list of items can be given one variable name using only one subscript, and such a variable is called as one dimensional array. That is what I told you. So we generally call it as subscript. So those subscript In programming, we call them as index. That means after the variable name, if we have written only one index or one subscript, and they are called as one dimensional arrays. They are called as one dimensional arrays. So here we first of all we'll see one dimensional arrays. What one dimensional arrays or how to write them. So subscript can be written like this: x of 1, x of 2, like x of n. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. Okay. And see, if you have numbers like this, so these are the collection of my 5 numbers, and I'm giving a name called number. A number is a name given to this whole collection. Whole collection is called as number. And individually I can say, so 34 is represented with number of 0. So 23 is represented as number of 1. 65 is represented as number of 2. 57, 15. So like this you'll have numbers. Okay. So that collection of numbers, that set of 5 numbers, so it is represented like this. And the computer, it reserves, it allocates the memory for these 5 numbers in continuous location. So 34 is assigned. If 34 is assigned at some location, in the immediate next location 23 is allocated. In the immediate next location 65 is allocated, 57, and then 15. The memory is also allocated in continuous, that is what we call it as a sequential collection. If in the beginning this collection is having 5 numbers, throughout the program I cannot alter the size. That collection can have maximum of only 5 numbers. Okay, the maximum capacity of this collection, this array, is it can store or it can hold 5 numbers. So throughout the program, the maximum capacity it can hold is only 5 numbers. It may not be 34, 23, 65, 57, and 15. Any 5 integers. If you want, you can modify the value, but you cannot increase the size of the numbers in that collection. So this is what your array is. The array, the memory is allocated in sequential order, and the size is fixed. And remember, all the numbers in that array or in that collection, they should be of same data type. You take integer, all the numbers in this should be integers. You take float, all of them should be float. If you take character, all of them should be characters. If you take long int, all the numbers in that collection should be long integers. The mixture is not allowed. That is why calling it as homogeneous. Array is also called as homogeneous collection of data. You got it? So the indexes have to be written in the square brackets. Clear up to this point? Any doubts till now?
No, sir.
Yes, that's fine. See,
In arrays only X will come.
what?
In arrays only X will come.
Only X. What is it X? Name? You mean this X?
You are holding X.
No, no.
Yes,
You
sir.
can give any name of your choice. See, here I have written number. In the previous, I have written marks. The name is our choice. The name is nothing but a variable name. You can give any name. You can write your name. You can write any names. See, a list of items can be given one variable name. So only one name is given for the whole list. So that name is a variable name. So there is no restriction for the variable names. You can give any name, right? And see, suppose you have an array and the size of your array is of size n. Any array, if you have the size of your array is n. Remember, for the array of size n, the indexes are from 0 to n minus 1. The indexes in that array are from 0 to n minus 1. Okay. Suppose if your collection is of size 10, your array is of collection of size 10. So that means the indexes are 0 to 9. Got it? See, here also you can look here. The numbers, the list is having 5 numbers. The indexes are number of 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You will not have 5 here. Maximum number of elements are 5. But the indexes of every number, every array starts with 0. So when it is 0, the last index is up to n minus 1. Clear? Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
See, now we'll see how to declare these arrays in the program. So how these arrays are declared and how we use them. So this is also a type of arrays are also one type of variable. So we have already seen every variable you use in the program, it should be declared first. So first you must declare them and then only you start using them. In the same way, variables are also a type of array. So they must be declared before you start using them. because declaration is a statement where the compiler allocates some memory in your computer. So you don't write a declaration statement, the compiler it cannot allocate the memory. So if it doesn't allocate the memory, so where you will store the values? Where can you store the data? So it is compulsory that you should write the declaration first. Okay. See the declaration. So the declaration of one dimensional arrays it goes like this. First you have to specify the data type. So to which data it belongs to. Integer data or float data or long int or short int or character. To what data type it belongs to. You first specify the data type and then you give the variable name. So what name you want to give to that array? So you can give any name of your choice, variable name. And then in the square brackets, you have to specify the maximum size. That means at maximum, how many numbers you want to store, how many values or how many elements you want to store under this variable name. Here, this size indicates the maximum size. Remember, maximum I want to store 100 elements in this collection, in this array. So you have to specify it. See, look at the example here. Float height 20. That means here I want to store 20 floating values under the name height. Got it? Here I want to store 20 floating, maximum 20. Minimum you can store 1, minimum you can store 10, minimum you can store 19. But the maximum limit you can store is 20. Remember that. You can't store 21 or 22 values in this. And once you give 20, so throughout that program, height is a array which can hold only 20 floating values. You can't modify this maximum size in the program. That is what I told you many times. Fixed size, fixed size. I can't modify the size here. Suppose if I write like this, int max of 50. So it means here I want to store maximum of 50 elements where all the 50 elements are of integer type, and max is the name given to those collection of numbers or that collection of integers. Clear? So out of these 50, if I want to access them individually, I can write like this: max of 0, max of 1, max of 2, so on. Max of 49. So this is how I can access them individually. So there is a difference between these two statements. The square brackets, there is a difference. In the declaration statement, square brackets indicates the maximum size. Only in the declaration statement, the square brackets indicates the maximum size. Whereas here, the number written in the square brackets indicates their index. There is a difference in writing the square brackets in two different ways. In declaration, that indicates the maximum size. Other than declaration, wherever I write, I am specifying the index. Other than declaration, wherever you write, it means you are writing the index number. Got it?
Yes, sir.
See, this is one more. C language treats character string simply as array of characters. So this we'll see later. So as of now, up to some point, I'll discuss only about integer arrays and float arrays. Okay. Character arrays are in C language, character arrays are treated as strings. So you can write them like this: character name of 10. It can store a maximum of 10 characters. Same thing. But that collection of characters in C language will call them as strings. This is a separate topic. So after a completion of arrays, immediately we'll discuss the strings also. Okay, character arrays are treated as strings in C language. Next, we'll see how to initialize these one-dimensional arrays. Okay, so we have different types of initializations. So different types means, because whenever you declare any variable you take, by defaultly every variable will contain some garbage values. Every variable you declare int a of 20, so every variable by defaultly will have a garbage. So our task is to replace that garbage values. So garbage values are replaced with initialization statements. Garbage values are replaced with initialization statement. So we'll see now how to initialize them. So two types of initializations are there. So one is compile time and the other one is runtime. Compile time initialization and runtime initialization. So what is compile time and what is runtime, we'll see. So compile time initialization means static. I already told you, static input and dynamic input. In compile time initialization, will simply initialize with help of the simple assignment operator. Assignment, that is equal to symbol is used for assignment operation. And the initialization and the declaration statements can be combined. Okay, so normally how we initialize a normal variable, in the same way we'll initialize the arrays as well. But array values are written in between the flower braces. In normal variables, we'll write like a is equal to 4. But here we'll have a of 5 like this. So that means you have a collection of 5 values. So all the 5 values you are interested to store, they have to be placed in the flower braces. And each value will be separated with a comma. Okay, so look here. So data type, array name, size declaration. In the same way, in the same statement, I'm writing the initialization also, equal to all the set of values you want to store here. Okay, see, look here, int number of 3 is equal to 0 comma 0 comma 0. So that means you are given 3 positions. That means to store 3 integer values, and all those locations are filled with zeros. All the 3 positions are filled with zeros. Okay. Next, float total of 5 is equal to, that means here I have 5 positions here, and all the 5 positions are filled with these floating values. What is 1.5, 2.3, 5.7, 9.4, and 5.7. Okay. Got it? And next is int counter of. So remember, look here. Here I am not specifying the size, but when you don't specify the size, you have to give the maximum values you want to store. Maximum here I want to store 4 values, so the compiler will automatically assigns or allocates memory for storing 4 integer variables according to the values that I am giving here. So you can skip writing the size, the maximum size, when you specify the values like this. When the number of values are specified, you can skip writing the maximum size. The compiler will automatically get the maximum size according to the values that you are passing there. Okay. And next one is the character array. So char name of, I have a name called John, and this character, which is a /0, we call it as a null character. We'll see the importance of this null character when we discuss about strings. Here also, what is the size of this? What is the size of name?
Sir, repeat.
7.
Sir, can you repeat?
Huh?
Can you repeat the question?
What is the size of this name?
Numbers.
How many characters you have here?
What?
4.
5 characters actually. JOHN, and this is also a character. This we call it as a,
And slash also it will count as character.
yes, /0 is also considered as a character. That
Okay.
name is null character. Okay, I'll tell you the importance of this when we discuss strings. Okay, the size of this name here is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so here you no need to specify that 5. That 5 will be calculated by the compiler based on the number of characters you are giving in the square braces. Okay, so same way you can also give the character like this also. This is the other way of giving a character array. And next one is number of 5. So number of 5 means how many spaces will be allocated for this?
5.
5 spaces are allocated, and how many values you are giving here?
Two.
Only two values. So those two values will be filled in the first two positions, and the rest of the positions are filled with
0.
zeros. That means for any array, if you fill a partial initialization is done, rest of the positions are automatically filled with zeros. If any array is initialized partially, the remaining positions are automatically filled with zeros. So this is number of 0, number of 1, number of 2, number of 3, and this is number of 4. Remember, these 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 are the indexes, and the values is 1, 5, 0, 0, 0 are the values or elements in that array. These two are different. So you don't get confused with the index and element values. The array values are 1, 5, 0, 0, 0. Indexes are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Indexes will always start from 0 till n minus 1, and they are in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. So there is an order for the index. But the values or the elements that you store in the array are, they don't have any order like this. Got it?
Yes, sir.
And next one is character city of 5. So here also you have an array which is of size 5.
5.
So but I have given only one character, I have given, which is V. What about the remaining characters, remaining positions?
0.
So when it is a character, when it is a number, it fills with zeros. When it is a character, it fills with
/0.
null character. Yes, /0. For integer array or for float array, it fills with zeros. That means the partial initialization is done. The rest of the array is filled with zeros. Whereas if it is a character array, if you are doing partial initialization, rest of the array is filled with the /0, which is a null character. Okay, so these are all the different valid initializations of one dimensional array. All the things which we have discussed now till now are valid initializations of one dimensional array. In the last statement you are seeing, which is in the red color, which is actually an invalid statement. Why? That statement which is in that red color is an invalid initialization. Why?
Because it is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, it should be 0.
No, no, no. You can give any values of your choice. Nothing like zeros or ones. The values in that array is my choice. I can give any number of my choice. Okay. There is no restriction for the values which you store in that. Only one restriction is, if it is an integer array, you should give integers only.
Integer number 3 and they are having 5 numbers.
Yes, exactly. The maximum size of my array is
3.
3. That means this integer array can hold a maximum of only 3 integers, but you are trying to store more than that. You are trying to store more values than the maximum size. In that case, it is an invalid initialization. You can do partial initialization, that is fine. That means if your maximum size is 10 and you can give only 5 values, that is accepted. Rest of the values are initialized with zeros. But the maximum size of your array, it cannot be less than the number of values that you want to store. Definitely maximum size should be greater than or equal to the number of elements you want to store. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So this is what your one dimensional arrays, and this is compile time initialization. So you just go through up to this part. So tomorrow I'll tell you how to do uh, what a runtime initialization using scanf, and we'll see some example programs on this. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So you have any doubts up to this, you can just clarify.
No, sir. Thank
While
you. Bye and
coding,
good night.
can we also write arrays? Is it compulsory?
What?
Is it compulsory to write arrays?
According to the requirement, you have it is compulsory. Suppose let us say you want to store 1,000 values. You want to store
Okay.
1,000 values where all of them belong to one category. So it is unnecessary to write all the variable names, right? 1,000 variable names. Instead of simply writing 1,000 variable names, you can write it very simple like this. See, I'll show you one. Suppose let us say I want to use say 10 variables in one program. Okay, I have to declare them like this, right? So like this, you have to declare all the variables, right? If there is 10 variables. Hello,
Hello?
is it visible?
Yes, sir.
So if you want to use 10 integer variables, you have to write like this, right?
Yes, sir.
But simply with arrays, I can make it like this. Int.
Int m is rectangle bracket 10 rectangle bracket semicolon.
This is fine, right?
Easiest.
This is easy or that is easy?
This is easy, sir. Instead of writing so much.
See, if it is 100 variables, yes, adding one zero is fine. Int m of 100. So this is equivalent to getting 100 integer variables. But only thing is all the 100 which you are interested belong to one category. If they belong to one data type, you can write like this. Out of 100, few belongs to integer and few belongs to float, you can't use this. Okay. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So you have any other doubts?